If people don't feel your words, they won't follow your voice. Let that sink in for a moment. That one truth changes everything about how you should communicate. Most people talk to be heard. Leaders talk to be remembered. And the difference isn't in volume. It's not about speaking louder or talking more. The difference is in precision, clarity, strength, and timing. Think about the last time someone's words truly moved you. It wasn't because they used fancy vocabulary. It wasn't because they spoke for hours. It was because every word they said carried weight. It landed. It stuck with you long after the conversation ended. That's what we're building today. A voice that commands respect without needing to shout. A voice that creates action without needing to impress. A voice that speaks to people's minds and moves their decisions. Before we dive in, I need you to do something. Subscribe to this channel right now. Because what I'm about to share isn't just communication tips. This is a complete system for transforming how people perceive you, respect you, and follow you. Hit subscribe. Drop a comment telling me your biggest struggle with communication. And let's begin. You don't need big words. You need strong ones. You don't need to talk more. You need to talk better. In this breakdown, you'll learn how to communicate like someone worth listening to. Real, practical, direct skills that you can apply immediately in everyday conversations, high-pressure moments, and leadership roles. This is for those who want to lead, not someday, but now. If your words don't lead, nothing else will. It starts here. Let me tell you a story about a CEO I once observed. Let's call him Marcus. Marcus walked into a boardroom where tensions were high. The company was facing a crisis. Investors were panicking. His executive team was arguing. Everyone was talking over each other, throwing out ideas, pointing fingers. The room was chaos. Marcus sat down, didn't say a word for 30 seconds. Just sat there. The room gradually went quiet. Then he spoke. 7 words. We fix this, or we all fail together. That was it. 7 words. But the energy in that room completely shifted. Why? Because every single word carried absolute certainty. There was no doubt. No hesitation. No fear. Just pure, grounded leadership. That's what this is about. Owning every word you say with full confidence. That's where leadership begins. If you speak and your words don't carry weight, then you're just making noise. And noise doesn't move people. Noise doesn't change minds. Noise doesn't build trust. But when you speak with confidence, when you speak like every word matters, people notice. They listen. They lean in. And most importantly, they remember. Comment below right now. When was the last time someone's words genuinely moved you? What did they say? And subscribe because I'm building a complete series on leadership communication. Confidence doesn't mean being loud. It doesn't mean showing off. It means you stand behind your words. It means you believe what you're saying. And if you don't believe what you're saying, why should anyone else? Confidence starts when you stop second-guessing yourself and start taking full responsibility for every word that comes out of your mouth. Most people speak halfway. They're not sure. They throw out phrases like I think, maybe, I guess, or I'm not sure, but. And every time they do that, they weaken their message. They lose people. Because the truth is, nobody follows someone who sounds unsure. Nobody buys into a message that sounds shaky. And nobody gets inspired by someone who doesn't believe in their own voice. Here's what most people don't understand. Your brain can tell when you're uncertain. And if your brain knows you're uncertain, your voice will betray you. It'll shake. It'll rise in pitch. It'll speed up. Your body will give away what your words are trying to hide. That's why confidence isn't just mental. It's physical. It's how you breathe. How you stand. How you pause. How you hold space in a conversation. Write in the comments, what's one phrase you use that weakens your message? Let's identify it together. And make sure you're subscribed because I'm releasing advanced techniques for eliminating weak language patterns. If you want to talk like a leader, you need to decide that your words matter. You need to mean what you say what you mean, and take full ownership of it. When you speak, people need to feel that you're serious. They need to feel that you're grounded. That what you're saying is not just talk. It's who you are. It's what you stand for. Now, confidence in your words also comes from preparation. If you don't know what you're talking about, your voice will shake. Your message will fall apart. That's why leaders prepare. They think. They reflect. They get clear, so that when the time comes to speak, they're not making it up as they go. They've already done the work. They've already thought through what matters. And that's why their words carry power, because those words have already been tested in their own life. Let me tell you about another leader I studied. Sarah, a military officer who had to brief her unit before a dangerous mission. She didn't give them a motivational speech. She didn't try to pump them up with empty energy. She simply laid out the facts. The risks. The plan. The contingencies. Her voice was steady. Her words were precise. And when she finished, every single person in that room knew exactly what to do and why they could trust her to lead them through it. That's the power of speaking with preparation and certainty. Confidence also grows when your words and your actions match. If you say one thing and do another, people will see through it. And eventually, you'll start doubting yourself too. You can't talk like a leader if you're not living like one. Because people listen more to your example than your explanations. They listen more to how you live than to what you say. Drop a comment. What's one area where your actions don't match your words yet? Be honest. And subscribe because I'm creating content on aligning your identity with your message. When your behavior backs up your words, then you don't have to try so hard to sound confident. You become confident because you've earned it. And another thing, stop apologizing for your truth. Stop shrinking your message to make other people comfortable. Leaders don't speak to be liked. They speak to be clear. They speak to lead. If you're always worried about what people think, you'll never say anything worth listening to. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be aggressive. But you do have to be firm. You do have to be real. And that means you own your truth, even if not everyone agrees with it. When you walk into a room and speak, the room should feel it. Not because you're loud, but because you're solid. You're steady. And people can feel that you're not guessing your way through life. You've made decisions. You've built beliefs. You've tested ideas. And now you speak from experience, not just opinion. That's what gives your words weight. It also means you stop using soft language to protect your ego. Cut out the fillers. Cut out the uncertainty. If you believe in something, say it. If you stand for something, speak it. If something's not right, call it out. Too many people weaken their voice trying to sound nice. But leadership isn't about sounding nice. It's about speaking what matters, even when it's uncomfortable. Here's what nobody tells you about leadership communication. Confidence in your words also comes from being okay with silence. Weak speakers rush to fill every pause. They're afraid of quiet. But strong communicators know that silence can be powerful. You say something important, then you pause. You give people time to hear it, to feel it, to let it land. You don't rush. You don't beg for approval. You say what needs to be said, and then you wait. And that silence speaks just as loudly as your words. Comment below, how comfortable are you with silence in conversations? And subscribe because I'm breaking down the psychology of powerful pauses. Now, here's something you should always remember. Your voice is your tool, not your crutch. You don't talk to prove yourself. You don't speak to look smart. You speak to serve a purpose. You speak to lead people towards something better. And when you know that, your voice changes. Your tone shifts. You stop performing. You start leading. Because now you're not talking to impress. You're talking to impact. Talking like a leader isn't about using big words. It's not about having perfect grammar. It's not about showing off your vocabulary. It's about being clear. It's about being certain. It's about being real. People follow that. People respond to that. Because in a world full of noise, real voices stand out. So if you want to talk like a leader, the first thing you have to do is this. Own every word you say. Stop outsourcing your voice. Stop doubting your message. Speak with your chest. Speak from your gut. Speak like you mean it. And every time you do, your confidence grows. Your presence grows. Your leadership grows. Because once you own your words, you start owning your space. You show up differently. You carry yourself with a kind of quiet power. People can see it in your face. They can hear it in your tone. They can feel it in your presence. You're no longer trying to sound like a leader. You are one. And that changes everything. Now let's talk about something most people completely ignore. Speaking clearly so no one misunderstands your message. This is one of the most important habits you can develop if you want to lead people, influence them, or even just be taken seriously in your daily life. Clear speaking is not about being fancy. It's not about using complicated words. It's not about sounding impressive. It's about being understood. And when people understand you, they trust you. When they trust you, they listen. When they listen, things start to happen. Let me tell you about a tech founder I met in London. His name was James. Brilliant guy. Absolutely brilliant. His product was revolutionary. But in investor meetings, he'd go on these long technical explanations. Using jargon. Using complex frameworks. Trying to sound smart. And every single time, investors would nod politely and then pass on his company. Why? Because they didn't understand him. He wasn't speaking their language. He was showing off his intelligence instead of communicating his value. One day, his mentor told him something brutal. James, if they don't understand you in 30 seconds, you've lost them. So he simplified everything. He stopped using technical terms. He explained his product like he was talking to his grandmother. And guess what happened? He raised $2 million in his next meeting. Same product. Same idea. Different communication. Write in the comments, have you ever lost an opportunity because you weren't clear enough? And subscribe because I'm creating a series on simplifying complex ideas. But if people can't understand what you're saying, then it doesn't matter how good your ideas are. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how well-intentioned you are. If your words don't land, you lose the moment. You lose connection. You lose respect. And worst of all, people start filling in the blanks. They start guessing what you meant. And guess what? People rarely guess in your favor. That's why clarity is everything. If people don't hear you clearly, they will misunderstand you. And once your message gets lost, so does your influence. Talking like a leader means you take full responsibility for making your message clear. You don't dump information on people and expect them to figure it out. You think before you speak. You slow down. You strip away all the fluff. You stop trying to sound smart and focus on being understood. Most people never learn this. They talk fast. They ramble. They assume others know what they mean. They skip steps in their explanation. And they leave a trail of confusion everywhere they go. Then they wonder why people don't follow them. Why people don't trust them. Why their team is disorganized. The answer is simple. Unclear words create unclear minds. If people are confused after you speak, that's not their fault. It's yours. Drop a comment right now. On a scale of 1 to 10, how clear is your communication? Be honest. And make sure you're subscribed because I'm releasing the exact framework for crystal clear messaging. So what does clear speaking really look like? It starts with knowing what you want to say before you say it. If your thoughts are scattered, your words will be scattered. You have to think through your ideas. Be specific. Don't speak in vague terms. Say exactly what you mean. If you're asking someone to do something, say it in one straight line. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't try to sound impressive. Just be real and direct. Clarity also means cutting out all the extra words that water down your point. If you can say it in 5 words, don't use 15. If your message gets lost in too much talking, people tune out. They stop listening. They get overwhelmed. And once people stop listening, you lose their attention. Leaders don't waste attention. They get to the point and they stay on point. Speaking clearly means using words that people actually understand. Don't try to sound intelligent by using technical language unless you're speaking to technical people. Speak their language. Meet them where they are. If you're giving instructions to your team, explain it in a way that makes sense to them. If you're teaching someone something new, break it down simply. Not because they aren't smart, but because your job is to connect, not confuse. Here's a powerful technique that changed everything for me. Before any important conversation, I ask myself 3 questions. 1. What's my main point? 2. Why does it matter to them? 3. What's the one thing I want them to remember? If I can answer those 3 questions clearly, my message becomes unstoppable. Comment below, what's one message you need to communicate more clearly? And subscribe because I'm sharing my complete pre-communication checklist. One of the best things you can do to speak clearly is slow down. When you speak too fast, your words lose power. Your sentences run together. People miss key parts. Slowing down shows control. It shows thoughtfulness. And it gives people time to process what you're saying. Fast talking often comes from insecurity. People think they need to rush through their ideas to sound sharp. But leaders don't rush. They pause. They let their words settle. You also need to be aware of your tone. Your tone carries meaning that your words alone can't. You can say the right words with the wrong tone and people will still take it the wrong way. Or you can say something simple with a strong tone and it will hit hard. Tone is your attitude made audible. Let me share something most people miss. Your body language affects your clarity. If your words say one thing and your body says something else, people will believe your body. That means standing up straight. That means facing the person. That means showing that you're present, not distracted. It all adds to your clarity. Write in the comments, what's your biggest barrier to clear communication? And make sure you're subscribed because I'm releasing body language techniques for powerful communication. Clear speaking is also built through practice. You don't wait for the big moments to develop this skill. You train it daily. You practice it in regular conversations. You work on getting to the point. You work on using better words. You work on asking better questions. You improve how you explain your ideas. That's how leaders sharpen their message. Not just through big speeches, but through everyday conversations done right. Clarity is earned. It's a skill. It's a decision. Every time you open your mouth, you have the opportunity to build trust or break it. You have the chance to guide people or confuse them. And you have the responsibility to speak in a way that makes your message easy to understand. So stop hiding behind complicated language. Stop hoping people will figure out what you meant. Stop rushing your words hoping they land. Make a new decision today. When you speak, you will speak clearly. You will speak with purpose. You will speak so nobody leaves confused about who you are and what you stand for. Now let's talk about something that separates average communicators from exceptional leaders. Saying things that actually move people to act. This is what leadership communication is really about. It's not just about talking. It's not about sounding smart. It's about speaking in a way that creates movement. A leader's words don't just fill time. They change minds. They wake people up. They make someone stop what they're doing and think differently. They make someone take a step they've been avoiding. When you speak as a leader, your words need to have power. Not emotional hype, but practical push. Your words should lead to action. Otherwise, you're just another voice in the background. Let me tell you about a coach I know in Berlin. His name was Stefan. He wasn't the loudest coach. He didn't give fiery speeches. But his team would run through walls for him. Why? Because when Stefan spoke, every word was designed to trigger a decision. He didn't motivate. He activated. He'd say things like, "You've trained for this exact moment for 6 months. Everything you need is already in you. The only question is, will you use it?" And his players would explode into action. Comment below, what's one thing someone said to you that made you immediately take action? And subscribe because I'm breaking down the psychology of action-triggering language. People hear a lot every day. They're flooded with opinions, distractions, instructions, advice. But most of it doesn't move them. It passes through and disappears. What they remember is what made them feel something strong enough to shift them out of comfort and into motion. And that's your job. To say things that wake people up without shouting. To speak in a way that reaches not just their ears but their core. That kind of speaking doesn't come from memorizing lines. It comes from knowing why you're saying what you're saying. It comes from clarity, from intention, from experience. Before you try to influence others, check your motive. Are you trying to impress or impact? Are you just repeating what you've heard? Or are you speaking from a place that's been tested in real life? People can tell when your words are just information versus when your words are real. Real words carry pressure. They carry weight. They don't float. They land. And when they land, people move. If you want to move people, speak directly to their pain. Speak to the part of them that's tired of excuses. Speak to the frustration they carry but never say out loud. Speak to the decision they've been delaying. Write in the comments, what decision have you been delaying? Let's bring it into the light. And make sure you're subscribed because I'm creating content on breaking through decision paralysis. You don't need to say it perfectly. You just need to say it truthfully. The truth hits. The truth stings. But it also frees. People are surrounded by soft talk. Everyone's telling them to take it easy, to wait for the right time, to avoid discomfort. That's not what they need from a leader. They need someone to say, "You've waited long enough. You've been hiding. You've been settling." Not with judgment, but with clarity. Here's something powerful. You don't move people by over-explaining. Say it once. Say it clearly. Say it with strength. And let it sit. If you drag your point through 5 examples, you lose the spark. The message gets buried. Say it short, sharp, and straight. And once it's said, don't water it down. People need clarity, not comfort. They need something to hold on to, not something to overthink. If you want them to act, give them something clean and firm. People don't act on vague ideas. They act on solid direction. Another key is urgency. People don't move without urgency. Your words should carry a sense that something must be done now. Not in 6 months. Not when life feels better. Now. Not with panic, but with pressure. You need to show them what's at stake. If they don't move, what happens? If they stay the same, what do they lose? If they keep waiting, what will it cost them? That's how you trigger action. Not with fear, but with truth. The truth that staying where you are is often the most dangerous decision. And speak in language they understand. Use words they use. If your message sounds too polished, people tune out. They think it's not for them. But if it sounds like it came from someone who's walked where they're walking, who's fought what they're fighting, they'll listen. Comment right now, what's one uncomfortable truth you need to hear? And subscribe because I'm building a community of people who choose growth over comfort. You don't need perfect grammar or clever sentences. You need to sound real. You need to sound like someone who means what they say and says what they mean. It's not just what you say. It's how much you mean it. If you don't believe your own message, nobody else will. Your tone carries your belief. If you're giving advice you don't live, people will sense it. If you're telling people to be disciplined while living undisciplined, your words lose power. But if your words come from your personal standard, they hit hard. That's why your life must match your message. When it does, your words gain strength without needing volume. People are not looking for motivation. They're looking for permission to change. They want to know it's okay to leave what's familiar. They want to hear that they're allowed to demand more of themselves. And your words can unlock that. Your words can pull the switch. But only if they're direct, real, and aimed at action. Don't talk around the issue. Don't sugarcoat it. Say what they need to hear and then challenge them to do something with it. Sometimes what moves people is not inspiration. It's confrontation. You say something that they've been avoiding. You hold up a mirror. You call it out. Not with anger, but with honesty. That moment of discomfort becomes the turning point. Write in the comments, what's one thing you've been avoiding that you know you need to face? And make sure you're subscribed because I'm releasing content on having difficult conversations. Many people are waiting for someone to call them higher. Not by yelling, not by guilt, but by saying, you're capable of more, and it's time to act like it. That line, if said right, can shift someone's life. And don't fall into the trap of trying to say what's popular. Say what's needed. Leaders don't chase applause. They chase progress. The room might not cheer. That's fine. They'll think about it. They'll sit with it. And if it's real, they'll move. You're not trying to entertain. You're trying to build something. So speak like someone who takes responsibility for the effect of their words. And never forget, silence can be just as powerful. If your words are strong, you don't need to say much. One sentence followed by silence can do more than a 5-minute lecture. It gives the message room to breathe. It gives people space to respond internally. If your words are filled with truth, don't rush to keep talking. Let it land. Let it echo. You also move people by making things simple. Complexity creates hesitation. But when you break something down into a clear next step, people feel ready. Say it like this. Start today. Make the call. Write it down. Fix it now. Don't leave them guessing. Move them from thought to decision, from idea to action, from good intentions to actual change. Comment below, what's the one action you're taking today because of this video? And subscribe because I'm creating weekly accountability challenges for turning words into action. And remember, you don't need to say more. You need to say it better. Don't crowd your message. Don't soften your edges. Speak to the real issue. Say the words people are afraid to say. Call out the habits that keep them stuck. Say what others won't. That's how a leader speaks. That's how a leader moves people. Because when your words carry truth, urgency, and direction, when your voice is calm, controlled, and certain, when your message is focused on what matters most, then people stop scrolling, stop waiting, and start moving. They stop living in delay and start living on purpose. Speak in a way that matters. Speak to the part of people that's hungry for more. Speak with enough pressure to wake them up and enough clarity to show them where to go next. That's how you lead. That's how you earn attention. That's how you move people. Not with noise, but with words that carry weight. And those words must come from a place inside you that's already moved. Because what moves you is what will move others. Speak from that place. Speak from your standards. Speak from your scars. Speak from what you've learned the hard way. That's what makes your voice different. That's what makes your message matter. That's what makes people act. Now here's your final challenge. For the next 7 days, I want you to practice one thing. Before every important conversation, take 30 seconds. Ask yourself, what's my main point? Why does it matter to them? What action do I want them to take? Then speak with that clarity. No rambling. No filler. Just clear, powerful, action-oriented communication. Track your results. Write them down. Share your progress in the comments. And watch what happens when you start speaking like a leader instead of just talking like everyone else. Subscribe to this channel right now because I'm building a complete communication mastery series. Weekly videos on influence, persuasion, leadership presence, and verbal power. Like this video if you're committed to transforming how you communicate. Share it with someone who needs to hear this message. And drop a comment answering this question. What's the first thing you're going to change about how you communicate? This isn't just another video you watch and forget. This is the beginning of a completely new you. One where your words carry weight. Where your presence commands respect. Where your voice leads naturally.